Do you know how long it's taken? How far we've come, and you would blow it all?
I'm sorry, all right? I'm sorry for Carrie. You know, I wouldn't do any of this. It did not mean for us to be together.
No.
So long as you know. You want to share some of my sandwich?
No thanks.
Split an apple.
Thank you, Eve.
ILOVE, Accomplice.
Should. You have the title role.
Specifically now, what England are these people from exactly? I mean, are they all descendants of Hugh Grant or John Cleese or what?
They're your basic, generic, upper class, cozy, West End matinee, British, box of chocolate, had I but known twits.
As perceived by the actor-playwright from the Cockney district of Hackensack, you do realize in Act 1 you had me eating Rolaids and asking, am I how you spell relief?
Well,
Do they even sell Rolaids in England?
look, I have no idea. What does it matter anyway, so long as my adorably affluent wife believes that this is a real play worthy of her investment as both star and financial backer?
Ooh. That reminds me, my compliments on the visual element, by the way.
Tom Swift in his electric chair?
You know, I'm off stage when you get fried. I don't even see where the lighting effect comes from.
It's Erica who turns it on, actually.
Why, Erica?
For my own safety, ironically. Only someone on stage, which means Erica or myself at that point, can see if my feet are safely planted for the footpath effect. Once we're both assured that it is, she pulls this handle, causing the trap door to spring open with the generator, and Dante's Inferno, and whoa, careful, it's all real. Care to make a point?
Would you?
Only when my umbrella has a wooden handle, I have a rubber sole, and we're both wearing our Captain Midnight safety goggles.
Oh, that's great.
Snap, crackle, pop.
That must have cost an arm and a leg.
I rigged it myself. In the retail markup, for Erica's benefit, supplied us with the petty cash for our weekend in Scotland.
Wow, it's impressive at any price. It's just too bad no one will ever get to see it.
Why so final?
Well, once Erica's gone, so is the show. That was the idea, right? Erica accidentally gets killed when one of the props misbehaves at a New Haven matinee while we traipse off.
Actually, I've been thinking a lot about that.
Oh, hell, I knew you were going to back out of this. I just knew
You
it.
mismade me. I like the original plan. Insure the production and Erica professionally and Erica personally to the hilt. She meets with an accident during one of our New Haven matinees, and we pocket the triple indemnity. I like that plan. It's a good plan. But I think we might have been overlooking an additional source of income.
What's that?
Accomplice. Brian, if Erica were to die accidentally at a rehearsal of Accomplice, maybe today's rehearsal, and say die with one of the props we used in the show, what do you think the public response would be if we went then, took the show directly to New York?
Well, you're talking about the publicity. Dress rehearsal disaster details, 11.
Anderson Cooper asks, is theater really dead?
And then straight on to Broadway, where Erica's part will now be performed by
Bernadette Peters.
Bernadette Peters, stepping in like the brave old trooper she is. But when?
I thought when Groucho and Harpo got back from lunch.
Today? Interesting that you would go to all the trouble for this elaborate electrocution effect. And yet for the real murder, you want to use something as mundane as this.
What do you think would look less suspicious? If you and I murdered my wife using a special effect that everybody knows I designed myself, or if we let Miss Polyurethane Brain do it. Oh my God, why else have we been putting up with Harley? Because she works for scale? No. It's because of the intensity with which she attempts to aggrandize her role. With one smooth stroke of her terrible swift sword.
How? This knife? won't kill anyone.
You're missing the point. I have done my homework, you know. See, the blade has been sharpened to the extreme, and some little bright boy has drilled a little hole in the handle with the company drill. And if you snap something, say like one of Harley's hairpins into it,
The blade won't retract.
try it.
Oh, well, look at that. Now imagine something like this going through someone with less thick skin.
Yes. I'm sure as far as Erica is concerned, she will find the whole effect to be quite heartrending.
Oh, that's terrible.
Erica, good. Back from your last lunch. I mean, lunch at last. Right. So we'll take it right from the last 2 pages of the script, from John being confined into the chair, all the way through to the stabbing of Janet on the couch. And then I think we'll have to take a little break from there.
Where am I?
In the Art Deco bedroom with the Art Deco potato chips. Now, go, go. All right. So you two are kissing and dialogue.
Dare I trust you, my pet?
Ever since you found me in bed with Melinda,
No, Melinda.
you seem so genuinely betrayed. Have you forgotten we planned all that together?
You enjoyed sleeping with her.
Not as much as you enjoyed photographing us in the act. You were supposed to play the outraged husband, bursting through the door and snapping a few incriminating photos, but you took so much time with the lighting and the angles.
I knew you'd want a full layout for your own personal scrapbook.
John, with Melinda and St. Moritz, we have 3 precious days alone. Can't we finally drop our guard, if only for the duration of one shameless, sordid, blissfully degrading bank holiday weekend?
How can I trust you, anyone, after all this?
Can we try a little experiment? Can we see how far you trust me? Come, sit down in this chair I've been saving for you. Let me make it easy, very easy for you. It's time for me to take hold of the reins, and I promise to show you a great deal of restraint. There's nothing weak about it. Members of Parliament, corporate heads, captains of industry, at the end of the long day, the long, hard day, laying down the law, they need to place themselves, their fate, your punishment or reward in someone else's hands. I'm going to make it easy for you to follow my strict instructions. I'm going to take all that control out of you and make you very, very steady and secure. I'll secure you to this nice chair and... Hal, you really think you'd let me do this to him? I mean, I've already killed Derek.
Actually, Hal, I was going to ask you that.
Brian, look, what you two have to keep remembering is that John is letting you do this all with the knowledge that Melinda is in the next room.
What?
Nothing!
So, later in the scene when Melinda stabs me with a knife, I've never had the slightest inkling she'd cut me to the quick.
I think total shock on your part would be the appropriate response.
But Hal, what I don't get is, when I stabbed Jen in the chest, is that a crime of passion, a part of a cold-blooded plot?
Oh, good for you. I mean, I know you want this by the numbers, darling Arthur Murray step kick, but even I get the motivation and the sequence confused.
Well, then use the mnemonic device that I use. Crystal.
Crystal.
Crystal. C. Confine John to the chair. Then R. Ring, ring. Who's there? Y. Yellow. It's S. Scotland Yard. Telling you that they're sending an inspector. So you two drag him off into the next room where Melinda T takes off his shackles. Then the 2 A accomplices sneak back and stab you while you're L lying on the couch. Crystal. Crystal.
Wonderful. I mean, that's what this play is all about, isn't it? Crystal?
It's about getting on with the scene and getting you on the couch.
I can't play the veneer if I don't know what the real wood is.
It's naughty pine, all right? Now, Harley,
All right, so then, Hal, we're going to take this from the bondage bit all the way through to the knifing on the couch, non-stop, as if it's for real.
for real,
This time.
this time.
Knock him dead high.
Thanks, Brian. Where's my knife?
Right behind the books where you left it before lunch. So get.
Oh, and Erica, are you ready to take one last stab at it?
All right, darling.
So from where we left off, and go.
He promised to buy me a plaything to please me, and then for a kiss, oh, he vowed he would tease me. He promised to buy me a bunch of blue ribbons to tie up my bunny brown hair. You're loving this, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Oh dear, what can the matter be, dear? Dear, what can the matter be? Oh dear, what can the matter be, Johnny? So long. Melinda, you can come out now. You see, child, John has us right where we want him. John, knowing how restrained you are, I'd like to inject something into this rather one-sided conversation via this hypodermic.
Janet's ever so clever with poison.
Ring, 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 ring. Phone rings, British style.
Hello? Yes, this is Mrs. Taylor. We've already been over that up at the mill. Well, it isn't convenient, actually. I see. I understand. Very well, if you must. Thank you. At Scotland Yard, of all people, there's some additional questions. An inspector will be here in 15 minutes.
Well, what do we do?
Well, we'll have to hide him in the bedroom. Give me a hand.
Then the two strong females drag the dead weight of our aging juvenile off into the bedroom.
Talking about strong women, when I stab Jen in the chest 5 minutes from now.
Harley, when we get
No,
there.
listen. You're saying that Jen and I are strong enough to move him and the chair into the bedroom. So wouldn't that make Janet strong enough to put up a fight when I tried to stab her?
Harley.
I mean, wouldn't it just make much more sense if I came around behind like this? Or do you think like if I came around like Oh boy, that is some bad acting. I mean, that was really bad. I don't care if he is an understudy, Melissa. He should do better than that.
Well, there you have it, folks. Mr. Paul Delgado in his sterling rendition of The Death of Brian from his one-man show, The Perennial Understudy. Where are you, hon?
I'm right here, Melissa.
Oh, well, we're ready for you.
I'm on my way.
Play's over, Paul.
Yes, but tonight, because Michael Keeney's role is being portrayed for the first time by his understudy, we have something of a added attraction for you.
He still doesn't get it, Destiny, does he?
Oh, he'll get it.
What a propped-up world is a theatrical thriller, don't you think, Paul? Where blood is paint and blades retract and no death is final until the final curtain. The poison bottle, the hairdryer, the trick knives, the gun.
Of course, there is no gun in Accomplice, Paul. So maybe your best career move right now would be to stay very still and listen to everything that we have to tell.
You've done such a professional job tonight, Paul, that we thought we'd entertain you with just a little story.
Once, not so long ago, Paul, there were 3 actors and a director, and they had a friend who died.
Now, the friend was a fairly young actress and fairly unknown in her lifetime, we're sorry to say, but we knew her.
She slit her wrist, Paul. Lengthwise, the way people do when they don't want anyone to save their lives. And so, naturally, her death was labeled a suicide, but in our minds, we think of her as being a murder victim.
Which is to say that we find her death to be the responsibility of a Mr. Paul Delgado, an out-of-work actor from LA who couldn't make a full-time living as a full-time actor, so he turned to dealing drugs, among other commodities. Clever lad.
And when our friend, whose name was Crystal Matthews, does that ring a bell, Paul? Moved to LA, Mr. Paul Delgado here thought it would be fun to systematically dismantle a woman. So Paul got Chris in real deep, hooked in the obvious ways and some other ways. So that Paul had Chris right under his thumb, which is, of course, the only place that Paul feels comfortable with a woman.
Hey, Paul. Remember me? David, your director. The director of this play.
Yes.
I realize it is a bit unusual for the director to set foot on stage, but, I mean, this whole evening's been unusual. Well, with Michael Keeney being out and you filling in, and well, we just thought we should fill you in, Paul. Now, Paul, what if 4 people had a reason, what they thought was a good reason to see another person humiliated, embarrassed, maybe even scared a little? Well, given that, how on earth could you get your victim strapped helpless into a chair, gagged silently in front of a house full of witnesses, and all with the total cooperation of your intended victim? Well, if your intended victim is a, how do you phrase it in your bio, Paul? One West Coast actor more than delighted to swap the bright lights of Hollywood for the white sands of Orange County. One might direct a play in which a character finds himself in exactly that situation. Then you would invite this self-absorbed actor to Orange County to understudy a lead role at Stages Theater. Then the director and his actor friends would wait for weeks and weeks of rehearsal and performances until comes that glorious afternoon when, dramatically, the star cannot go on and the humble understudy must step into the role. Then you would have your victim exactly where you want him. Don't we, Paul?
Didn't it once seem odd to you, Paul, that here in Orange County, where the theatrical talent overflows into the streets, that we would have to go and recruit an unknown from Playa del Rey? When they think that the OC is a TV show? Hey, relax, Paul, relax. The gun isn't even loaded. Yet.
We gave you 3 chances to save your skin, Paul.
We put her name in the script, spelled it out for you.
See?
All the while wondering if you would flinch at the sound of her name.
Crystal. Crystal.
I mean, that's what this play is all about, isn't it? Crystal?
Strike 1, Paul. We told you exactly what was going to happen.
Your director shall rise like Lazarus and stepping onto the stage cause great humiliation to one of his cast members in front of a full view of a full house of witnesses.
Because a cast member has caused the director to suffer cruel and inhuman punishment.
Strike 2.
My name's in the program, Paul. Right beneath the scene list.
Now that was risky of us, but we took the gamble that you're one of those actors that when checking the program only checks his billing and his bio.
That'll teach you to read your program, won't it, Paul? The cast of Accomplice dedicates their performances in this production to Crystal Matthews.
Strike 3.
Crystal Matthews was her stage name, Paul. Not her family name. Chris and I thought we could do more good for each other in this business if nobody knew she was my sister. You took that job as Michael Keeney's understudy. That's what I knew for sure she never told you.
I don't know, Paul. It seems to me some part of the script has slipped your mind.
It keeps coming back to the script, Paul, doesn't it? I mean, what's in here that you should be remembering? Something from Act 2, scene...
Oh, Melissa.
Oh, wouldn't want to give away the ending. Oh, which we've retitled, by the way. It's now called The Murder of Paul Delgado.
This is what they call the actor's nightmare, isn't it, Paul? You find yourself on stage in front of an audience, and the script that you've memorized is different from the play that the other actors are performing.
Yes, that would be a nightmare, wouldn't it, Paul? With all of us standing here smiling like we're all part of some bizarre plot, and all these nice people out there looking on thinking, it's all part of the play. It's not, play.
The nightmare always takes place at a performance, doesn't it, Paul? I mean, there's no embarrassment without witnesses, and we like the idea of there being witnesses, like they have at trials and executions and at the scene of accidents.
Well, we have no problem there, do we? In just 3 minutes from now, you'll walk out those doors, head west down to downtown Fullerton to have a meal at Mulberry Street, and you will smile at all this silliness because we couldn't really harm someone, could we?
No, of course not, Destiny. We're performing a play here at Stages Theater. I mean, everything we're saying is in the script. Dave showed the changes to the stage manager. The lighting crew's been advised of the changes. Read from it, will you, Melissa?
Oh, Dave showed the changes to the stage manager. The lighting crew has been advised of the changes. Read from it, will you, Melissa?
All right. Now what's next?
I have a light cue, Sean. Lights, 61, go. Oh, I like that. Do you like that, Paul? Oh, and look, I have a sound cue. Scary music, audio cue D, go.
Listen, Paul, they're playing your song.
I realize there is such a thing as artistic license, but we couldn't possibly be getting away with murder, could we? No, perish the thought. But in this last part of the script, Paul, I'm afraid it's going to kill you.
Now, Dave seems to have this gun here, doesn't he, Paul? Should we use the gun, Paul? What's my line, Marisa?
Oh, any last words?
Oh, that's right. Any last words, Paul? I didn't think so.
3 bullets, 6 chambers. It's better odds than you gave Crystal. I think you have another like you, right, Melissa?
Yes, it's our equivalent of giving you a blindfold. 62, go.
No! No, please! No!
63, go.
We're not gonna murder you.
And we're certainly not gonna shoot you. I mean, not when every gun on this stage is loaded with blanks.
But you felt the fear that we might actually do it, causing some discomfort in your otherwise frictionless life, and that's enough for us.
Oh, we would love to kill you. Honest.
But we'd really rather not go to prison. And we can't count on every single member of the audience
Oh, as sympathetic as you might be.
being willing to cover for us.
Well, I think it's time for Paul to make his exit, don't you?
And so, Paul Delgado, as your moment in the sun sinks slowly beneath the horizon,
It is not without a sad tear of farewell that we bid you bon voyage.
To your basic 1 act 2 said 4-actor thriller.
Where blood is paint and blades retract, and no death is final until the final curtain. Oh, mouth a little dry, Paul. Would you like something to drink?
I'll pour you a glass of water.
I'm gonna kill you all. I swear to God.
I would like to remind you that that lever opens the trap door, but, well, I think you'll remember because it was pointed out to your character in Act 2, Scene 1 as being the one element on this stage that's all real. I think you forgot.
It was a terrible accident. You saw that. It's certainly not in this script.
Oh, of course. It never would have happened had it not been for his violent, unpredictable nature. You saw that.
No one came near him. You're all witnesses. Now, as you can imagine, we're delighted that Paul decided to drop in. And even more honored that on an afternoon so meaningful to Melissa, Destiny, Dave, and myself that you joined us. So we'd like to extend our appreciation to each and every one of you, not only for being such a superb audience member, but also for becoming our lifelong accomplice.